Well, hello. Welcome everybody. We got ourselves another simulation Sunday live stream, community live stream. Uh, Seems to be a pretty nice day today. It is pretty hot over here. I know the past couple days have been in the 90s, so definitely typical Florida weather. So yeah, imagine that. So Florida is you know, even hotter as per usual. So I guess that means that summer should be kicking in pretty soon. It looks like we have a pretty healthy group of people, both in both in both phases. There are like two really good notable phases right now that I'm seeing, and we started off in phase 1, which we're in right now, and then we'll drop into phase 3 and 4 later on. But I see quite a few cool characters over here. We have a few Supermen. It looks like we have Tony Stark masquerading as Captain America, and maybe some of the Shazam characters. But we'll kind of go over some of these styles as we talk about the latest happenings in the game, because I know a lot of you are excited to see a lot of what's going on. I think it's a good direction for the game in general. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So, as you all may know, Thursday they had the live stream for the game, a sneak peek preview for what's to come in the new chapter in the game. The new chapter being Fearful Day, and it looks like there's some big changes that are going to be coming along with it. So let's get right into it. So it looks like art swapping will be a thing of the past. It looks like it will be the end of an era. And some of you know that I art swap, but I've always had a philosophy that that I'm fine with art swapping. I was fine with whether or not they took it away or not. I'm glad that we're just getting the 2 slots. I'm not too worried about, like, for me, I was on the fence. I could live with or without it. It is extra work for me to do. So it's definitely kind of one of those things where I really didn't care about the outcome, whether they did or didn't take it away. I had people that were saying that they had a feeling that they would take away art swapping with the last of the slots being given to us. I was like, you know what? I'd be fine either way with it. And it looks like the devs have taken that route to disable art swapping while in combat when the new DLC drops. That is when the update will happen. I know a lot of people didn't like it, and I think the biggest part of why people didn't like it was that you sometimes had groups of players that would almost require you to have certain things and swap, or you wouldn't be considered for their groups. And I thought that mentality was was very toxic, and so I felt like you should be able to play your way. So if you don't want to swap, you shouldn't have to swap. And so I was very much in that camp where play however you want. If you want to swap, go ahead and swap. But I think the line is crossed when you start requiring other people to swap and infringing on how they play. I think that's where you start to get a problem. And I think the devs kind of also saw that too. And I think for the longest time it was very beneficial for the developers to kind of leave swapping the way it was. But I'm one of those people. I didn't jump on the bandwagon when it came to Dead King Scepter and doing the swap for that. For me, that was too much. That was too much effort to to put into it to get that reward, I guess. To get that extra damage. That was a little too much for me. So I never did that. Never jumped on board. Never got the artifact. I never got the Philosopher's Stone. I never really got many of those artifacts, those specific swap ones. I think the only one was like Mercy that I actually had because I had a pet build. But now those artifacts are pretty much Well, I wouldn't say they're worthless, but I'm guessing a lot of people are going to use the Philosopher's Stone right before they start a boss fight. They'll quickly throw that on, drop their supply drop, then swap it off real quick before they go into combat. The only problem is if then they start combat, then they'd have to use, they'd have to go ahead and use an armory, basically swap to an armory, and and have to deal with that cooldown. But that's what you'd be looking at for the most part. But I thought it was pretty interesting how that all pretty much how that came about. But I'm excited for it because I definitely had people that would that were like against, very much against the swapping, and I kind of understood their point from there. So I didn't blame them. I wasn't the one that's where it was, oh, you have to do that. It's like, you want to maximize your damage, sure, like that's the best way to go about it if you're really worried about the numbers. But I'm glad that they made this decision. I don't think it would be as hard of a decision if they had taken action earlier. But I think it was too beneficial to take down at that point. And I think that they have other ways of monetizing things now to where it's not as much of an issue to get rid of it. I think the game, at some points, this is just my opinion, I think at some points the game really needed that revenue, so they kind of let it lie. But now, since we're kind of out of the woods, I think they don't have to depend on that as much, so they have a lot more leeway in being able to do things that are better, what the players want now, and you see a lot of that. And then it looks like we're getting another pair of elite henchmen, which are going to be solely based on damage, which I think is going to be amazing. And the Blue Lantern is not only going to buff the 2 Green Lanterns that are there, but they're also going to buff all the other pets you have out, including yourself as well. So that seems to be really promising. So you have the hazmats that are kind of like, the medic henchmen. They do really good damage. They do the most damage in the game, but they won't be for long. But they will go ahead and be more or less like the healing henchmen. And then you'll have the lantern ones, which will be more or less the damage henchmen. So I guess they're going to kind of treat the henchmen kind of like artifacts, with not in the way that you have to level them, but they're all each going to have their own unique aspects of what makes them great. So that'll be nice, so that you're not, you can kind of pick and choose whichever one works best for you. I think that's fair. And then it looks like, so they kind of updated some of the characters. Multiverse, in one of his videos, he couldn't quite get his finger on what was different with Carol Ferris, and he was saying like the body proportions, but then I replied that maybe it was because the mask doesn't go around her eyes and nose. It's just like a tiara on top of her head, but it's not an actual mask. So maybe that's what's different. We're not used to seeing a Carol Ferris that has her whole face like open for the most part. It's not covered in any way, shape, or form. So now it's kind of just, it's open so you can see her full face. I think that's kind of weird for us, because we're kind of used to her having her face covered in some way or another. I'm trying to think what else. There was another really big one. Oh, and then an artifact is coming. That troll DPS artifact. I'm guessing it's going to be really good for AoE, but we won't know until we actually see. I think the ion is for the damage side. It has like an explosion. If it's like any other explosions, that I would figure that we'd see, that we've seen with like Omega or the Spore ability, and it doesn't split, then it's probably going to be a really broken artifact. But we just got to see if it beats anything that we currently have. But I think there's just going to be a ton of testing when the DLC drops, because with 2 more slots, that's definitely going to open up a lot more room for a lot more metas and people finding the best way to do damage. So it'll be really interesting. It's gonna flip a lot of things on their head. So I already know there are a bunch of people that are already already kind of making like tank videos, battle tank videos, and they've already got in their mind what would be the best builds. Kind of like Solaris. I was thinking on the top of my head here. He's got a few tank videos, battle tank videos. They're pretty informative. I've even had the pleasure of like running a raid or two. We duoed a casual raid. I think it was Source Wall, and kind of testing out the tank builds. And I was swapping, but the same build that I'm using now, I just won't have to swap. So it'll be so much hands off and easier for me. It's gonna be great. Instead of me having to swap in Flute and Gemini to spam on Berserk, now I can just have it slotted in and do it seamlessly. Oh, we got Tomare. If only he had the elf ears, that would be perfect. Yeah. Man, that would be really good. Alright, let me see. We got Grim Shinobi over here. I want to make sure I don't miss him. But yeah, so I think we're gonna have a really nice episode. Hopefully it's has really good content. I love Lantern content. Alright, so now I'm looking at chat because now I see stuff popping up. Bolacan25 says, are you playing on the US or EU server? I play on US server. And Chosen says, to be honest, I never got into art swapping as well. That is perfectly fine. Then you won't really have to change much, and it's going to be extra for you, which is good. Because I think, I think the thing is there were a lot of people that tried to push others into doing it, and they were just really turned off with it. And I think the elitism that kind of went with it was also not great. Which was more detrimental than it needed to be. But yeah, it's not going to be a big change for you then. It's going to actually be pretty good. Will and Bill, do you think we'll ever get new powers? I know there's some they have worked on but never finished. I'm sure they've worked on a few. I know they tried to do the Venom, the serums. They didn't. They ended up scrapping that idea. But I don't know of any others that they had like finished or unfinished. I would have figured that like a strength or like Kryptonian build would have been in the works, because I think, or a super strength build, and it could have said like pick up a bus, and before you know it, kind of like if you ever played the Bane. If you ever played the Bane Legends character, he picks a rock up out of the ground and chucks it at you. So he basically summons a rock, but it looks like he's pulling it out of the ground. They could have that with a super strength build or a Kryptonian build, where it says literally pick up a bus, and you just kind of pick and summon up a bus and like crash it down on your enemies, or use it as like a two-handed weapon and just twirl it around you like a doom spin. So, and then like do a combo to where it throws it at your enemies and knocks them back, or things like that. I think that would have been cool, but I think at the time it was, and this is my opinion, it's not official by the devs. They said that they didn't want to do it because of drug use, but they also used Neo-Venom and a few other things in the game that have the very same mechanics and things. I think at the time it was too complex to make, and so they looked for something that was more doable, and so they went with water. And they did a quick vote on Twitter, and water was the favorite for like years at that point. And so they knew he was going to win, so water took over. And so they said, okay, we're doing water. So I think that's kind of where that went. And for them, it was better, because it probably would have been 3 to 4 times as long if they even tried to attempt to do the serums. As much as I hate that we lost that, I don't think at that point it was feasible, and I think they figured that out. If they increase max arts, should they also increase nth metal drops? They're not going to increase the max on arts anymore. They have too many artifacts. They have too many artifacts, so they're not going to increase the max. They said that 200 was the max quite a few years back, because 160 used to be the max, and then they changed it to 200. And then they said, okay, 200 is going to be the final max. Like we're not going to do it any further past that. And also, and everybody's like, okay, all right. And then they, kind of from that point, they're like, okay, we're just going to keep releasing artifacts, but 200 will be the max. Because I mean, you can't really build a system if you keep pulling back the max. You can't really have a good system, because then everybody's kind of all over the place. And then you're going to have a lot of players that are upset that their artifacts are, I don't know, I wouldn't say not as good, because they would still be the same, but it's like now you're kind of, pushing back the carrot, it's like, and they've already got the carrot, they already have it finished off, and now you're trying to push that back even further. I think it'd be super unpopular to try to go that route. So I don't think it would happen, to be honest. I think at this point they understand 200 is the best of where it should be, and kind of leave it at that. And I think they kind of made that clear the last time that they talked about it, so I don't think they're too worried about trying to do that. I think they just want to make more artifacts. Will and Bill says, I really want something like Metamorpho or Plastic Man. Like, imagine transforming into a ball or tire, or something like Metamorpho with turning or arm into gas or something. Those I think would be fun. I know at some point that was supposed to be part of serums, to be honest. They said that you could take different serums, take different combinations, and they said that it would partially be inspired by Bane. But they said that also other serums would have other curious effects, maybe like stretching and so on and so forth, and a few other things. So they had very ambitious plans for serums. But I think when it came down to it, I think they overpromised, and I think they realized that. And that's why they were forced to backpedal. I don't think they wanted to, but they were kind of forced to, because they had no other option. But like I said, this is just speculation. This is my opinion on what I think happened. It doesn't mean it's actually what happened or what went on behind the scenes. I think there was some point where they did mention that it was harder than they expected, but I don't think they came right out and said, hey, we just couldn't do it because of this and this. They never gave us an official reply on why it never happened. They just said, we're not, or we're giving you a chance to vote on another power instead, if that makes sense. It says, oh, I meant max amount equipped, and which 5 should increase if nth metals. Okay, I meant max amount equipped arts, which is 5, should increase nth metal if players should now need 5 arts to at least 160 to do anything. Zombie, I don't know if they would do that. I don't think that they would increase the nth metal, because in their mind, they're going to justify it by saying that they have enough sales on. They're going to justify it by saying that they have enough sales on Wolfpack tokens to where now artifacts are easier than ever to level and spread across your account with characters. So I think they're going to use that as a good reason why artifacts are easier to level up, because Wolfpacks make it so take the strain off of multiple characters, because now you can just unlock them across multiple characters. So it's not as expensive, so they got to make their money somewhere. So, and at this point, a lot of players have quite a few artifacts under their belt. So I hate to say, I think the entry of building artifacts is going to be really bad for new players, but it's not going to be as bad for players who are already established and have quite a few artifacts under their belt. So it's really, I can only see this really hurting new players if they don't buy the wolf packs or take advantage of sales that Daybreak puts out. That's the only thing I can really think of. And then I have Russell over here. He says, I haven't played in a while now. How are you? It's Johnny, a.k.a. Doom. Yeah. Hey, buddy. How's it going? I'm doing pretty good. I'm working on another video. The community live stream video, the short, I put that out like an hour ago for anyone who's wondering. So see if you were on there last week. But yeah, so that short is out. And then, of course, I'll make a short for this week's, and that'll probably debut either Saturday, Sunday of that next week. But yeah, it's crazy, man. I mean, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm waiting for the new chapter, and it looks like the devs. I don't always agree with everything that they say, and I'm very vocal about it for the most point. But you know, I can't ignore when they do good work, and I think they're making a lot of good steps in the right direction, and I think they're listening to feedback. So I think that's really valuable, because I think it's just getting the right people used to the community and realizing what the community is about and what they're not about, and what we want, and making sure that it's heard. So that they can go in the right direction. Because I think for the longest time, a lot of people feel like they have told the game what they wanted. They've told the team what they wanted, and they weren't being listened to. And I think we're at a certain point now to where, I don't know, maybe certain metrics have dropped off, or not as many people play, or I don't know what it is, but they're finally giving us stuff that we want. Maybe not everything, but they're conceding a little bit on what we do want. So I could see it going in the right direction. And, you know, I'm here for the ride to see what happens. Chosen says, to be honest, I'm mainly thinking that they should add a power system similar to Adam Eve's powers, even though she's a hero from a different franchise. The power set does give players an easier time recreating her in DCUO, though. I don't think that they would do that. There's probably a copyright of some sort. Your best bet is if they made a... This is what I've been telling the devs for the longest time, or been talking about. And sure, I don't have any background in how things actually, like, how everything works, like, in the background of how every part of the game works. Like, I don't have that sort of background, so I could be talking out my hat here. I don't have that sort of background, so I don't know. But I feel that as a player, if you don't want to make more, if the devs don't want to make more power sets, then they should make power set animation variants. So I don't know, you know, kind of like how you respec your movement mode, or you respec your you know, you respec your movement mode, or you respec your personality on your character. There should be like something where you go in and you want to change your power type. Okay, so say I'm Rage, but I want to get the reskinned Rage, which is Black Lantern or something, right? Say just hypothetically, what if there's a black? It's basically it's Rage, but it's a Black Lantern like skin type, so all the animations are Black Lantern. You'd get a power token, you know, open it up like usual, but instead of picking Rage, you'd pick Rage, aka or Rage, Black Lantern variant in quotations or whatever. Pick that, boom, there you go. And you know, and you when you play, your animations look like a Black Lantern. Like, it's still the same sword spin, it's the same outrage, but that constructs might be a little different. but when you slam on the ground, the Black Lantern logo comes up when you slam instead of the Red Lantern. Like there's so many possibilities that they could go with this. And there you go. You didn't have to make a Black Lantern power. You just did a reskin of Rage. You changed the animations or reskin them or change the colors. And then change the emblem when you do certain things. Oh my goodness, there you go. You just you know, like, you just basically made a whole nother power. It's a reskin, but at least people get what they get the power to look like what they want it to look like. So you could do the same for like a Star Sapphire, but for the hard light power. So hard light, instead of it only being green and yellow, you could have a pink one or a blue one or indigo. So I think there's so many routes you could go with just reskinning a power set. And just making like a power set like variant. You're just changing the animations and reskinning it as a whole nother power. There you go. I think they could do that. I don't know how much easier it would be for them to make the animations and whatnot, or to reskin them. I don't know how easy that is because, like I said, I don't have that background. But I would figure in my mind that would be easier than making a whole nother power from scratch, right? So I think there's a lot that you could probably do with something like that. I just don't know. I just don't know how exactly that would, you know, how much they would have to do in the background to make that work. But I think that'd be cool. I think that'd be the best way of going about it. You're not making a new power set, and you're still keeping people happy, and it's less work for you. Or I assume it's less work for them. Russell says called Green Lantern. Yeah, but Green Lantern's Green Lantern. He wants a character that has pink. That would be a Star Sapphire power. Because I think you could do that if it was a green, if they had reskinned the hard light power and made it pink for Star Sapphires. I think there you go. You would have your Adam Eve. 100%. That's where you'd have it. But yeah, so that's where I think they could probably have like a nice compromise between the players and the devs. I think that would be the best way to go. But like I said, I don't know what it takes to do that work. So, you know, I could be saying something and making it sound so easy, and it's probably not as easy in the background. But you know, we could dream over here. But it'd be cool. It'd be cool 100%. Then we got our man Superman DCUO over here. He's using the Zod cape. Okay, I was curious about that. All right. Who else? Did I miss anyone? Let's look at Godspeed Hermes. Okay, so he's using the golden armor. Very nice. And then we got Flash going on here. It looks like he's got a Superboy Prime. Yeah, there we go. There's the Superboy Prime. Let's give that a professional spin. Very nice. Alright, let's see. It says they already have wind powers in game and skill tree, vacuum bubble, backdraft, etc. Yeah, but that's a few powers. I think a whole power set is what they want. A full power set, you know, like I don't know how many powers does an actual power set have? It's what? Let's see. Let's go into loadouts. Oh, I thought I was gonna have rage pop up over here. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 powers. And that's for quantum, so some powers may have more. But so you have like, I don't know, you maybe have 3 different powers, 4 different powers for wind, but that's nothing compared to 23 powers. That's a power set. You have to like literally build it out, and sometimes that's a little much. So I don't know. Howard says, I want to make a Plastic Man. Do you think Rage would work? We'll showcase if his powers would work. We'll showcase if his powers are in the game. I made a Plastic Man video. I don't think I have the actual information video like linked up to it. I do have a private video that I have linked up to it that I'd probably have to edit, because I do have, so after a while of not having color codes and people asking, or just me saving some because I wanted to save them because they were such good styles, I didn't want to have to redo the codes again or refigure them out. I did save some short clips, kind of like very much like the clips that you usually see now, that I attach to the videos. But it usually only has the colors because I don't really need to figure out the styles, because I can know just by looking at them. So I usually don't include the styles in the short little clips. But I do have one for Plastic Man. I just have to edit out some talking that I have in there. And then I could go ahead and link it up. So I don't know if I'd remember it here. If you're in the Discord, you can always hit me up. Or you can look up my Plastic Man video and just like leave a comment or something on there, and then I could attach it to there, and and I'd reply to you in the comments. Because I don't know, I'd probably forget, but I'll try to remember it. But yeah, I have done a Plastic Man style. Rage is pretty good for Plastic Man. I don't think you can really go wrong with that. That or like Earth. I don't know. Those seem to be the two that kind of like stick out to me. Would work showcasing. I'm typing fast. Chosen says, which character should I base my style off of? My DCUO character has Earth powers, flight, and uses brawling as their weapon type. Sounds a lot like a Superman character. I think you could also use like I don't know, maybe like a Sentry or an Ultraman or Omni-Man, or, and you could even do it for like you could even do it for like what's his name? He's from The Boys. Homelander. That, you know, so I think any sort of like Kryptonian or Superman knockoffs, you could easily use that for that character, because I mean, for a Kryptonian, I would use Earth powers. I'd also use flight, and I'd also use brawling. So for me, that sounds like a Kryptonian-esque character if I ever heard it. So I think that's probably the best route you could go. Maybe even like, well, no, I wouldn't say Thor, because you have electricity. You could always use electricity for Thor. But yeah, so that's kind of the route I'd probably go. And I have had somebody ask me recently, are you have you done Sentry yet? And no, I haven't done Sentry. And I know it was a question on one or two, I think it was last week's podcast. And I am happy to say that I am working on Sentry at the moment. I've got about 3 or 4 styles that are already done that I have yet to put into a video. I've been working on them over the past 2 days. Hopefully I have more done tonight. It really depends on how many I get done tonight, and then if I'm not tired, then I'll go ahead and edit them in. So it depends on how exhausted I am. If not tonight, then I think I'm off Tuesday, so I'll see if I can't edit it and have it done Tuesday. But yeah, so definitely trying to get it out as soon as I can. But yeah, so to kind of just answer that, in case they do watch this, you know, whether it's, you know, they watch like the replay or whatnot, he is being worked on. I had a little bit of a time with the belt, trying to figure out what I wanted to do, and I decided to go for the shape of the belt rather than the accuracy of like the S on the belt, because a lot of people use, from what I noticed, a lot of people use the I'm trying to think of the steampunk belt, and man, that does not, oh, that does not work well with me at all. And you know, and it's just because of all the studs that are on the side of the belt, and it's just not great. I look at that and it's like it comes close on the buckle, but then I look at the rest of it and it just looks awful. So I was like, nah, I can't do that. Like in good conscience, I can't. Like I couldn't even look at that. It was pretty bad. Zombie Takeover says should do the plutonium, but power set may differ. And then Chosen says, which century though, the comics version or the MCU version? I'm going more or less for the comic version, so he has a much longer hair. He's a lot more grittier and mysterious. I don't mind the century in the movie, but I just thought his hair was too short. He didn't look, I don't know. He didn't look serious enough. He didn't look serious enough, mysterious enough. He needed to be, in my mind, he needed to be a lot more withdrawn but mysterious. I'm sure the actor did a good job playing him. It's just he didn't have that intimidation factor that I really wanted from like a Sentry character. Because I did watch the media with him, and then I looked at the movie, and it just, I don't know. It just didn't hit the spot. It just didn't hit the way that I thought it was, if that makes sense. So it's let's see, because I got somebody who's doing a Sentry character over here. They had the really old-fashioned version, and then they switched over to the newer one. It looks like they're working on. So I'm using the same hair, but I don't think I'm using any of this other stuff that they're putting on right now. But I'm using the hair, the Kryptonian metal hair. But I think it's gonna turn out really good. I think it's gonna be all right. But I'm finishing up the other styles, and then I'll kind of go back, and I always do one last look at all the different styles and see if there's anything I missed, anything I should change, maybe something that would give it a better texture. So I'm always reevaluating before I put it in a video, just to make sure there's nothing that I've missed. And believe it or not, there are still some things that I will miss from time to time, and there's two things that come to mind. So when I did the Teen Titans video, I forgot to put the belt on Aqualad. So in the video, in the original video, he doesn't have his belt buckle on. And so I did a short that showed him with his belt buckle. But yeah, that was something else. And then I think with one of my other videos, the Hot Styles video, I forgot to put the eyebrows on Mephisto. So I made a short that has him with his eyebrows on. But and I was almost kicking myself. I'm like, how did I not think of this? You know? And but you know, it got fixed. It got put in a short, so at least you could see it. But little things like that, you think that you have everything covered, and then you look back and you're like, ah, man, like I went over that like a few times. So despite my best effort. All right. Alright, and he says, Chosen says, to be honest, which comic version is Sentry as well? Normal, modern, or Death Seed version? I'm guessing it's the normal one. So he has the long hair. It's basically, he has the long hair, so it's not short, it's not mid-height, it's his long his long hair, uh, and it's got the big belt with the glowing S on it. Um, I mean the pretty general style. I think it's the normal one for the most part, the one that everybody thinks about, and the one that they always use on the thumbnails. I think that's fair. It has to be the normal one. All right. Let's see who else. And we got. No, that's the wrong. Here we go. Superman Justice League. So he's got his new style on for the new Superman. I think that's going to be a good movie, but I am being cautiously optimistic. Red Knight says my character is a knight with mental power. I think I know you like the red, but if he's got that mental power, ooh, I would get some nice metallic metal pieces and build up like that knight armor, and maybe adds like some purple like aspects to that suit, whether it's like a cosmic material or shadow material or something of that sort, something to kind of allude to that you're a mental character. I think that'd be kind of cool too. Let's see. No, wrong one. That's me. All right, same. All right. Let's see. Who is that? Rachel Roth. So it looks like they have a White Raven style. Oh, I remember them from earlier. Yeah, they were using the Herald of the Black Chest. Alright. Howard says, what do you think would be a good weapon for Plastic Man's shield? Oh, I don't think I have a shield in my inventory. Man, that's a really good question. You know what I would say, Howard? Get something that is absolutely ridiculous. I would do if you got the wet paint or the glossy the glossy finish material, get that trash can lid. Get that trash can lid or something that's like so recognizable enough, but it's so goofy. Do something like that. I think that'd be hilarious. Get yourself like the trash can lid, but make sure it's like the tan color, the same tan as the skin color for your Plastic Man. And I think that'd be hilarious. That's what I would do. Or get yourself something really big and just outrageous, you know? Because that character, like look at the character. He's a guy that's in red skivvies. He's just tan and red. Like, this guy is not subtle. He is out there. So you want to have something that's outrageous or funny for his shield, and color it tan so it looks like it's coming, like it's part of you. That's what I would do. Because when I was running with my character looking like Plastic Man, I used two-handed. So I was using like all sorts of crazy like giant hammers to go ahead and to kind of give off that illusion that I was stretching my body and using it as like weapons against people. So yeah, so I was having a lot of fun with that. But yeah, 100%. Yeah, take whatever weapon you have and make it as big and as goofy or recognizable as possible. That's the best way to go about it. That's the way I would go. 100%. And then we got Pure Will over here. Very nice. He's just missing the boots. Yeah, he's just missing the boots in the back. Very nice. Yeah, there's so many things I've made with this style. Whether it's, I think it's usually the belt, the legs, or the shoulders. I've used the head sometimes. The head's good for, I think I have used the head before for, Ah, this is gonna drive me nuts. Blanking out on it. They're kind of like the Green Lantern Corps, but in Marvel, but they're not the Green Lantern Corps. They've been in the MCU movies. It's gonna drive me nuts. Nova Corps, thank you. That's what it reminds me of. It reminds me of the Nova Corps, that helmet. I'm going to destroy your name, so I'm just going to say CH. CH says, I'm going to pull up in my Spider-Man Unlimited. Okie doke. Sounds good. Chosen says, I don't know how to create either one of those styles. So you don't know how to create the Sentry or the Plutonian style. Well, give me about a day or two, hopefully, fingers crossed, and when I get my Sentry style done, of course, I will have a full detail style video that'll be attached to it as well. So give it about a day or two, and you should see that come down in the video, and it'll have the, you know, the details video attached to it, and you should be good to go. And you won't have to worry about how to make that. Red Knight says, which helmet looked the best, Naboo or Shimtar Regalia? I'm more partial to the helmet of Naboo. I'm more partial to that. But if you're going for a knight, I think the Shimtar Regalia is going to be better. I don't think the Naboo helmet is... It's okay for a knight, but I don't think it really accentuates what you want. So I think Shimtar Regalia would have to be a little better for that. Zombie Takeover says, I have a Plutonian style for you, Chosen. Well, then there you go. Someone's going to hook you up with the Plutonian style. Spider-Man needs a group. So let me see. Recent text. Invite the group. There you go. Okie doke. So he's in group. So we got Blue Devil over here. Let's take a look. Wow. This is such a simple style, but I'm actually digging it. I actually like that. That is actually better than I thought it was going to be. Wow, that is simplistic, but it works. I like that. Hell yeah, I like that. They did good on that. Very nice. Wow, I didn't actually think that was going to be good. I mean, it's like I saw it and I saw the material, you know, and everybody's got, you know, their idea of what something might look like from far away. But I looked at that, and I'm like, wow, that's actually really nice. And it's not very hard to make that style. Just by looking at it, I could already tell what they did, but really good. Fine job. And then we have Supergirl over here. Supergirl character. More like a casual style. Let me see. Let me see if I could find their name. There we go. I know I didn't look at them. This kind of looks like a Red Lantern style. Just a little bit. Maybe they're going for like a Kryptonian vibe with like the emblem maybe? But it has like a very Red Lantern-ish feel to it. And then we have Spider-Man here. Let's check him out because he came over. So this is the Spider-Man style he was talking about. And so this is supposed to be the Spider-Man Unlimited style. Alright. And then we have Clark J. I don't think I've ever seen him around here. So let's take a look at him. And then we got Webhead. I gotta look at him too. So we got Clark J. He's got the wet paint going on. And where's Webhead? There we go. So here we have another Spider-Man. Alright. So Howard says, "Okay, I'm about to change my channel's name to DCUO's Plastic Man." I don't know. There's already somebody. So if you look at the last short, if you look at the last short that I put out, you'll see a Plastic Man that's in that video, and he's dressed up as like a Elvis with like a afro or something. It's really interesting the style that he's got going on there. But his name's called Plazzy or Plaz. So I thought that was funny. But yeah, it looks like he's trying to be the Plastic Man. Chosen says, I forgot to mention this earlier, but my DCUO character is mainly female. It doesn't matter. You could still do those characters. 100%. They don't have to be the you know what the character is in the comics. You could do a female version. Will and Bill says these streams are fun. Well, I try to make them as fun as I can and try to have a good conversation and see what y'all are up to. Red Knight says, I tried to get the mystical magician chest and what I got is the same freaking belt. You could probably get the chest style on the broker. So if you sell stuff that you get in the game, you could sell them and just buy it off the broker. I imagine at this point it's really cheap because that time capsule is the most recent. So it should be fairly cheap at this point. Will and Bill says they give me a lot of ideas. And seeing different people here also gives me a lot of ideas. And helps, you know, combos and stuff. So, you know, I never get this idea that I know everything with styles because it's like I do. Like the thing is I understand a lot of combos and a lot of different styles, but sometimes there are combinations that you never think of with all the styles that are around, and a lot of them are really good. And you know, you can't realize all of them. I can't realize all of them. So it's really cool to see what people come up with because everybody thinks in a different way. So no, you know, so not everybody's gonna look at something and see the same thing. So for me, it's really cool to kind of see what people come up with. And I think if you really want to grow and you really want to make cool styles and kind of keep up to date with all that, you have to open yourself up to seeing what other people do. You can't be stuck in your same mindset of what you think works and what doesn't work, because some people are going to turn that right upside on its head. So I think that's a smart way of going about it, is being willing to see the different possibilities of what can be. And I think some people may struggle with that, and some people can't see that at all. It's not a bad thing. Some people just don't have that creativity. They're not wired that way, and some people are. But that's why I kind of offer some of the styles that I make. And I always have people that may ask, like, oh, this is a style I work super hard on. I don't want anybody else to have it, and this and that. And while I understand that, I don't feel that way. For me, there's no greater honor than to walk around the House of Legends and see someone wearing a style or a suit that I put in a video and offered willingly, and they made it. For me, I get really excited when I see that, and I think it's great. And sometimes I'll give them a little message, and I'll be like, great style you got there, and give them a little winky face or whatever, or I'll just walk by and wave or whatnot. But for the most part, I really love it, and I love it when I see people wearing the styles that I've made. It's great to see that. I could pick them out of a crowd. I'm like, oh, they've watched that video. Oh, they've seen it. So for me, that's fun. I like that. Howard says I'm always up for competition. Red Knight says, too bad I'm a free-to-play player. You can still sell things in the broker. I don't know what the caps are now. I wish I did, but I don't really know. I haven't been free-to-play in like 12 years at this point, so I don't really know how they change that up. But I know there's still quite a bit in the game that you can sell to try to get to that meager point to buy that. I just don't know what they allow for you guys. Zombie Takeover says, I can't wait to get my hands on the free shaded. Going to remake all my 200 styles, 200 of my styles with on it. Yeah, I have. So this character that no, not this character, the other one. My little guy, my little iconic, the Little Earth character that I got. He's the only character that I actively play out of like the 4 that I play. He's the only one where he doesn't have the shaded comic. So for me, the shaded comic is harder to get than a wolf pack. So which one am I going to choose? I'm going to get a shaded comic because shaded comic's pretty rare at this point. It's harder to get. Where what last week they did a sale on wolf packs. I think the shaded comic is far more hard to come by. So that's kind of my reasoning of why I'm going to choose that for one of my characters. So I'll be getting the shaded comic. I'm not too worried about the wolf packs. I can get those much quicker than I can a shaded comic. I think you're putting a little more work into trying to find that. And to not deal, and also you also have the risk of dealing with people who are, well, that are not trying to scam you. So then you have to deal with that aspect as well. So there's multiple layers of difficulty, so to say, in dealing with that. So at least you know you're gonna get it. You know you're gonna get the shaded comic, and I think a lot of free, or premium players are really going to be excited to finally get their hands on like a premium material. So I think they're super excited. Yeah. Red Knight says, I think a lot of people get the shaded comic material. 100%. It's so much easier to get it. And there's no risk involved. You're not dealing with people that are, that may be looking to scam you. You don't have to deal with any of that. So for me, it was a no-brainer. So much easier to get a wolf pack than to get a shaded comic. That's how I kind of view it. That's the rationale there. So people asking $800 for the shaded comic. Yeah, that's insane. Like, I know the shaded comic is good. I don't mind it either, but at the same time, it's not worth $800. It is not. If that's the truth of the day, that's the truth of the day. It ain't worth 800. If you're paying 800, you're getting ripped off bad. Don't be doing that. Don't be throwing that sort of money towards that. You will regret it. Yeah, don't be doing that. It's not, you're gonna have the buyer's remorse right afterward. It's not worth it. It is not worth it. Just get it at the end of the year. Wolf packs are pretty much, I could tell they're pretty much here to stay. So they're not going anywhere. So just get your shaded comic and pick it on the one character that you really want it on and that you play often and you see yourself using the most out of. Put it on the character that has the most styles, because guess what? Now you have the most styles and you got a good material to use it with. Don't throw it on a character that only has a few styles and you're planning on building it up, but you just don't have it on that character. Unless you don't plan on playing any other characters but that one. So it's pronounced Trazix, the name. Okay, alright. Yeah, there's no way in hell I would ever guess that it was pronounced that. Trazix. Yeah, there's no way. No way I would ever get that. But thank you. Anakin says, this is likely the only time they will get it for free. 100%. So why wouldn't you take advantage of that? 100%. 100% I would take advantage, and I will take advantage of that. I've bought 3 shaded comics before, and no, none of them for $800. No, that's insane. I think I got 2 of them out of the boosters, and then I bought one. And but yeah, there's no way. No, if I had a friend that told me that they were looking to do that, I'd tell them, I'd say no, that's not worth it. I'd say that is stupid. Don't do that. That is not worth it. And I'd say that because I'd care, and I don't want them to do something like that. It's not worth that. I'd tell them, get the glossy or get the wet paint, and that's good. That's a good option, and sometimes even a better option. All right, then we got Chrono over there. Red Knight says, "Too bad I missed the first patrol because I can't play the game at the time." I think you can still buy them out. I think you can still buy the patrols out. The only thing is you can't buy out the seasonals once they have them expire. So yeah, so that's a sad thing. Yeah, if you're free to play and you can't drop that sort of money on there, yeah, I'm afraid that's not gonna really be possible for you. There's nothing you can really do about that. Yeah, I mean, that's why I like the buyout option, because at least, you know, at least there's some way for you to get it. But yeah, if you can't do the buyout option, then it's not going to help you out either. All right, I'm going to go jump to the other phase, make sure I didn't miss anybody. I'm going to look at Godkiller here real quick. Make sure I did not pass them up. Okay, they're working on their style. I'm going to switch. So if some of you want to switch to 3, you can. But I will be over here. What's the style pieces used for the Plutonian? I'm not 100%. I'm not 100%. I've heard of the character. I think I've seen him before, but I am not that super well versed in what they wear. So I wouldn't know off the top of my head what styles. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, to be honest. But I can always. I could try to look later. If you contact me in the Discord, or if you're in the Discord server, just let me know and we can even talk over it. That's what we do in the Discord. If somebody's got a question, they either do it in the Ask Iconic channel or they'll do it in the Style Show Off channel, and they'll ask. There are other people in the channel that are really good with styles as well, so it's not only me. So I have the Discord server link attached to the channel. So I highly recommend, if you just want to be part of the community even further, and want to get hold of me sometimes a little quicker. Sometimes I can't always guarantee all the time, but I try. But you also have some really cool people there that are also really good with styles. That's something I'd recommend. Now let's go over here. So we've got Loki Odinson, but looks like a Green Lantern. But that's the rate I'll kind of go. So there's a link for the Discord because I could drop the style for him. Yeah, so I got a Discord link. So you go to the About section. So you know how you have, like, you see my channel, it has like the subscribe button. And you know how it has like the information of the channel, like, where you go to look to see how many views I have on the channel, or it says like where my location is, or a little bio of me kind of explaining myself, or my channel. Click into that, go down at the bottom, and you'll see the links provided, and one of them is the Discord server link. So go ahead and click into that. It'll give you the invite, and then you can accept it, and you've joined the server. Yeah, the campaign events will remain for buyout. So anything that's non, let me see if I could find it. Anything that is non, let me see. Anything that is not a patrol. So these do not expire. But the other ones, like the, so let me see. Let me go back into the screen. I don't know why I exited out. So these will not expire, these patrols. You can buy these out. but it's everything else. It's the reward. So you got, so these will not expire, but the chapter will expire, the marquee will expire, and the seasonals, all of these will expire. So, so if you don't buy them out, then you can't claim them. And so, I mean, you could buy them out now, but they're changing how the system works. So these will not be available. And I think from this point on, seasonals will only last for a certain while, and then the buyout will end, and then you will have no other way of getting these until the devs like decide what they want to do with it. So if that makes sense. Red Knight says, well, at least so people can complete Patrol 2 to get the Kaznian Mark and the John Constantine ally. John Constantine's really good, and I don't like it because there's feats attached to them. But if you look on these events and like say people, like you have new people that come into the game, well, they're not gonna. Okay, so they will be able to get this one because this is a patrol, so they'd be able to get this one, but. Chapter marquee, so they're gonna miss out on the Superman emblem. You know, well, that's kind of a given. They're not gonna be able to get this, but then you have like, here you go, right here. This has a feat to it. The Spore Pod has a feat to it, but they're not gonna be able to get it because it's a seasonal one, and once this locks out, they're not gonna be able to get the Spore ability, so they're out of luck on that. So they won't be able to get this. And there's feats attached to all of these rewards. This one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. So they all have feats, and so those are going to be feats that people can't get anymore. So, so it's like. I'm going to quote Multiverse, but in one of his videos, I don't think it was the last video, but the video before, he said that it looks like the devs are trying to capitalize on FOMO, which if you don't know what FOMO is, that's the fear of missing out. So if you're not around at that point and you miss out, oh well, you will not be able to get it. They want you to rush in and be there and play so that you don't miss out. Otherwise, basically you won't be able to get it anymore. So it seems like that's kind of the route they're trying to go in terms of monetizing the game and dealing with like the different event like buyouts and whatnot. So it's kind of like, hey guys, you either got to get in and do the work, or you miss out. Yeah, it's something. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. Trazix is right. He says something like 5 skill points so far. 5 skill points locked behind all that. So you'll be down 5 skill points. Let me see if I can get back into one. Just a little more. I'll eventually get back in. And we'll look at a few more styles, and then I think we'll call it. But I want to see if anybody else has shown up new over there before I do that. But yeah, so it looks like they're really capitalizing on the FOMO aspect of that. So we'll see how that works for them. Some part of me thinks that maybe they, and this is my opinion. It's not the devs' opinion. This is not something that they've said, but I think, this is me thinking out loud right now, I think that they will bring a lot of those rewards back in the form of episode highlights or chapter highlights. I think that's what they'll call them after a while, chapter highlights. So let's say you have a Dakota City shock to the system, Dakota City like chapter highlight, and so you get like double marks or whatever, and maybe they add some new style or something along the lines of that. Maybe they'll also open up those maybe they'll open up the old patrol rewards as something you can buy off like a vendor or something. So maybe they'll do that route, and so that'll incentivize people to get on board and play that particular spotlight for the week, so that they can catch up on something that they haven't been able to get for a while. So that may be the sort of route that they'll go, but you know, obviously we don't know for sure. We don't know until they do something like that. It says, never on the Xbox server have I seen Little Bohemia 4 phases full. There's I don't know if it's 4 phases full, but there are people in 4 phases. Yeah. I think that's fair to say. Let's take a look at that again. Yeah, so you got 31, 131 to 123, and then there's 4 in the PvP. So some people are having fun in this PvP area. And then you got 24 in Phase 4. All right. Let me look at Shallow or yeah, over here. I probably butchered that. Oh, Bionic. The name got me. Not bad. I like that. Let me see. There we go. That looks like Madame Pryor. I like that from X-Men. And the thing you gotta understand is that I'm not a very big Marvel fan because I'm used to a lot of DC. But I only know of this character because they were in X-Men 97, and I love that show. They did a very great job on that show. They did an awesome job, and that's where you get DC people like me that start figuring out what characters you got. So I thought that was pretty cool. Let's look at Red Knight. Let's see what he's got. So he's using that new back style. Got the Omega sign. Very nice. And then we have Luke over here. It's supposed to be Luke Cage. So there you go. Got your Luke Cage. Looks like he's ready to go. And then who did I miss? Did I miss somebody over here? I thought I saw like a Power Girl running around here. Got Babs. We got American Chavez over here. Red Knight says that would be great if they do that, like the episode highlight and bring back the other rewards from patrols. Yeah, so and maybe they would offer the old event rewards from like events and put them into vendors as well. I think that'd be kind of cool, but we will see what they do. Because part of me thinks that just like every year they would just add something new. So I don't know what they'll be doing and like redoing it or adding more or not adding more. So we'll see. And here we go. We got Cheater here again with a fabulous style. I really like how it looks. Always on point with the color distribution and choosing which colors work really well. I believe he's in the Discord server as well, but he's really good. He's really good with styles. As you can see, very nice. Yeah, that mutant skin is amazing. I wish I could buy it on other characters. I would have already done that on like 3 other characters if they did. I don't like how they made it to where you couldn't buy extras. It's like I've seen other time capsule rewards to where you could style unlock them. This you can't style unlock. So, you know, once you use it on one character, that's it. I mean, I don't using it on Iconic because of course I'm going to use it on him the most, but and to be honest, he gets all the styles first. But it would have been nice to be able to buy that over for other characters. But it was in that bundle, so you only get one per bundle. Clark Joseph. Is that the Red Sun? Something like that. Or is this the where he's a German, maybe? Alright. And then let's look at King Shark. If you haven't seen him before, here's King Shark. He comes here quite often for the stream, so you know, of course I love to have him. And there you go. Alright. I'm going to look at this little speedster right here, and then I think we should be good to go. So he will be the last one. I like how they use the black mask underneath to kind of give it a little bit of contrast. Very nice. And the red's not bad. I kind of like that. Alright. Alright, and he says from Dragon Ball Z. Oh, calendar, Dr. Giro, yes. Yes, he does look like Dr. Giro. I've seen that style a few times. I think I might have even put it in one of the shorts. I'm pretty sure I did. Let me see if I could find them. Yeah, calendar's great. Let me see. Looks like Dr. Giro has wandered off. We'll catch up with him next time. Yeah, we will catch up with him next time. Let me look at Carter Hall down here real quick, and then I think we can call it. And I think this is a really nice style. This kind of reminds me of the style that's from the Black Adam movie. That's what it kind of reminds me of. So it's very nice. It's definitely not the traditional Carter Hall that you think you'd see usually in the game. So I think it's really nice that it's something different that they went for instead of the usual cookie cutter. So that's pretty nice. So I think my evil Major Force is ready to end this stream, but I appreciate y'all for hanging out with me today. Hopefully I have another video coming down pretty soon, so stay tuned for that, and be sure to check the short from last week if you want to see who ended up on there. And I appreciate y'all for spending time and coming out to hang out. I'll see you all in the next video, hopefully pretty soon. Laters.